Welcome, my name is Nick, and this is Nick's Fort. And today we're gonna talk about practical ways to get more clients. If you are new here, I do filmmaking and video tutorials to help creators, and I also help people learn how to freelance and improve their skills as a freelancer. So if you dig it, you can subscribe below. Today's video is actually a two-part video. So if you're watching this right now, depending on the timing, I will link below to the second part, or if it hasn't come out yet, pop on notifications so you'll be notified when I post my other videos, and then you can watch part 2. Over the years, I've worked with a lot of big name agencies and big name clients, but this didn't happen overnight, and this also didn't happen without effort. We're gonna start at the beginning. We're gonna talk about your portfolio and how that is important for getting new clients. And then we're gonna move into some typical methods that I use to get clients and that I've had a lot of success with for getting clients. And then finally, we're gonna look at some alternative methods that I've used to get clients over the years. With one particular story that is quite interesting from this alternative method that actually involves me tweeting to someone and getting a contract for 100 grand. But that's gonna be in part 2. So you might be saying to yourself, but I don't have a portfolio, I don't have a reel, or I don't have any work that's from a reputable company. And this moment right now that you're describing, we've all been there. Everyone starts there. So that's some comfort right there. I'm gonna tell you guys about how I was there and how I leveraged my situation at the time to then walk away with a portfolio from a reputable company. I'm gonna share with you guys the start of my freelance content career. Yeah, it's story time, your favorite time. 10 years ago, I saw an ad on Craigslist. And at that time, Craigslist was definitely hit or miss when you're looking for work. This ad was for a job that sounded too good to be true. It was to travel around the United States and get paid. So I clicked through to it and I found a brand that I actually knew and that I loved their work. And that brand was The Truth. And if you don't know who The Truth is like one of the biggest national tobacco education and prevention brands in the United States. And they were actually ranked in the top 10 ad campaigns of the 21st century. So I was really excited about this opportunity. The job that I applied for was a marketer for The Truth on the Vans Warped Tour. And actually getting hired was super hard and competitive. I'm not trying to say I just walked in the door. There was 1,400 people applied and they hired 16 people. It took months for me to go through all these interviews and all this stuff to get the job. But at the end of the day, it was the right time, the right place, and the right fit. Now I'm working for The Truth. I'm traveling around the United States. It's a 2-month gig. My job as a marketer is to be present at the Warped Tour on the microphone, hyping up the crowd, getting people stoked, giving away free stuff, playing games. And my job had nothing to do with creating content, but I obviously brought my camera and I started shooting stuff as we traveled. And all of a sudden I had opportunities to meet people in the marketing department for Truth. They would come out on tour and I would get to meet them. And I started hearing stories from my tour manager about people who performed really well in this job, then had opportunities to continue working with the brand in the future. And I thought to myself, that's what I want to be able to do. So I busted my ass as a marketer all summer long and I started shooting content and all these tour stops and making content, and I started showing it to my tour manager, who's my direct boss, and he started sharing that with the marketing team at Truth, and they started liking it, and then they started saying, hey, we want you to add this to your duties as a marketer. So all of a sudden, I'm having an opportunity to shoot plus do what I'm doing, and it's definitely more than what I signed up for, but I was super excited to now be shooting content for that brand. I was taking pictures for them. And I was so stoked. So the next tour comes around, they ask me to come back. I buy a better camera, I buy a nice digital SLR, I bring a new laptop that I bought with the money from the previous tour, and I show up and I start shooting better content, and I'm creating better content for the second tour. I'm getting better as I'm shooting, and the whole tour happens and I walk away with all of this content that I shot And it was outside of my like true responsibilities. I went above and beyond every time I was creating this content. But at the end of the tour, I was really stoked with all this content I had. And then Truth was really stoked with all this content. And they were actually so stoked and they liked this content so much that they started publishing it on their social media channels and using it in their marketing materials. So all of a sudden, I had content that was being used by a reputable brand that I started creating because I loved creating that content. They didn't hire me as a content creator or to create this content. They paid me to be a marketer. But I saw an opportunity to do work for a notable brand. I saw an opportunity to create a portfolio with this notable brand. And then when I did that, they liked the work. And because they liked the work, they started talking about it. 2 years from the time that I applied for this opportunity, I was then hired by an advertising agency. And this advertising agency was actually the Truth advertising agency at the time. And this advertising agency happened to be ranked at the time the best ad agency in the nation. And I was creating content for them. And I was freaking amped. Story time, it's done. All right, grab a pen and a piece of paper because now I'm going to go over the takeaways from my story and how you can apply that to your career and your portfolio. I hope you didn't think I was just gonna sit here and talk about how cool I think I am this whole time. No, I'm actually gonna give you practical advice based on that story. 1, you find a brand that you know and love, and then you ask yourself, what category are they in? And then you ask yourself, do I wanna work in that category? 2, focus your efforts in that category. You don't have to go for like a massive brand right away because you do want to remember that the right fit, the right time, and the right place isn't going to happen for everyone. It's not going to happen for everyone every time. It doesn't happen for me every time. I feel very fortunate that everything lined up for me in the beginning, but just keep that in mind. Also, you might not want to work with big, huge companies. You might want to work with small companies or medium-sized companies. I don't really know. That's really up to you. But what's important is that the business you're working with, that you try to solicit for this portfolio piece, you want to make sure that they're a real company doing real work and sharing that work. You know, maybe they're buying ads online, they have social media content. That's the most important thing. But do remember that it's critical that this is about you and what you want to do, okay? And if you don't really know, you might say, but Nick, I love 20 categories. And like, yeah, I get it. Like I like a lot of stuff too, but you really want to focus on a single category for the time being. It doesn't mean you have to do this for the rest of your life, but it is important to focus that. And if you don't have the ability to focus it yourself, I'm gonna drop a link to a book called The One Thing below. It was recommended to me by another filmmaker that I look up to a lot, and I read it and I like it a lot, so it will help you focus. The link's below if you need help with that. 3, in the category that you want to work in, you now need to come up with a low risk opportunity for the companies in that category. And that might mean doing work for free, especially if you don't have any work to show. So then you present that low risk opportunity to multiple companies in that category. And remember, when you do that, you need to be giving more than you're getting. Number 4, this last one's really up to you, okay? But if I was you, this is what I think I would do. The idea of working for free doesn't really sit that well with me, especially if it's for a business that has the ability to pay someone to do that work. But if you're building your portfolio, then you probably don't have the work behind you to really charge for your services. So you need to think about how to get around that or how to make that feel right. So this is what I would suggest. Take your category, match it with a nonprofit, and then do a project for a nonprofit. In my experience, when you work with a nonprofit, they often have a less budget or no budget. And then if you're trying to build your portfolio, this is a good opportunity for you to get an easier yes. If you go to someone who has no budget, but they need content, it's gonna be way easier for you to get a yes than if you go to someone who has a big budget and they can hire X, Y, or Z who has more experience than you. So working in the nonprofit category will give you a better opportunity to get a yes and build out a project with a reputable brand. You can go out there and find a reputable nonprofit and try to do this with them. And then at the end of the day, if it's a cause that you care about and a project you care about, and you're gonna help the world and help the cause that you believe in, then that can make you feel really good about doing the work and also doing the work without getting paid. So it's kind of like a win-win-win-win. I don't know how many wins were in there, but there was a lot of wins. Now that you know who your clients are, the only other thing you have to do and figure out is what you do for them. So like what your niche is. I'm not gonna dig into how to figure out what your niche is. What I'm gonna do is refer you back to the book I've linked below called The One Thing. Brief recap of my portfolio building experience and the takeaways from that. I worked in a non-creator role for a company I cared about and for a cause that I was passionate about. I saw a need for content and I started making it in my spare time. The brand liked it and started using it in their marketing materials. I built my portfolio. The brand referred me and my work to others, and I was able to get more clients. I went from creating content for free to getting work with a highly reputable ad agency. Before you take off, I have 2 surprises for you guys. I made a survey. It's linked below, and that survey is to help me understand how I can better help all of you. So for the first 5 people that fill that survey out in a thoughtful and complete manner, like not a one-word answer, I'm gonna send you my LUT pack for free. I'll just email it to you directly. If you didn't know, I have Lightroom presets, LUT pack, and a pricing workshop on nixfort.com/shop, and you guys can go check out those if you're interested. And for everyone else who doesn't get in that first 5 people for the survey below, if you fill out the survey, again, in a thoughtful manner, complete manner, by February 14th, 2019, I will send you a 50% off coupon code that you can use on anything in my shop. And lastly, again with the survey, if you fill out the survey, I will also email you when I release part 2 of this video series on how to get clients. And in part 2, we're gonna talk about the typical way that I get clients, and then also the alternative methods that I get clients, which includes the 100K tweet story. So if you guys dig this video, you guys can drop a comment below, drop some questions if you want, we can have a conversation. If you click that thumbs up, clickety clackety, it helps a lot. And please share this with someone who would find it helpful. And obviously, if you're not subscribe below, notifications on. Hope you have a good weekend. Peace.